Hi, welcome to Get a Clue using a smartphone scavenger hunt to help students succeed. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Bonnie McCarty. I'm an academic advisor in the College of Behavioral and Health Sciences Advising Center at Middle Tennessee State University. MTSU is a public institution in the center of Tennessee, just southeast of Nashville. MTSU has approximately 22,000 students. CBHS, my college, has just under 4,000 students. Clue is a virtual scavenger hunt to help students connect with others on campus, learn about resources available to help them succeed, utilize services available around campus, and engage in campus activities. Let's go take a look at Clue. You can visit this website if you'd like to join at home, or you can watch and I'll share on the screen. This is the Clue homepage. This is where students come when they follow the links we send or follow the QR code on the yard signs that we've implemented starting this year. Students see the scavenger hunt, which we'll look at more closely in a minute. They sign up here. The sign up form is a Google form. They can see a how to play guide that just walks them through how the scavenger hunt works, how to earn points, how prizes work, etc. There's an FAQs page that has more details about various aspects of the scavenger hunt. There's an optional points calculator for students who want to more easily track how many points they've earned throughout the scavenger hunt. And then there's a Wall of Fame page of students who reached a certain top score last year, unless they let me know they didn't want their name listed. And we also have a fun feature on the Wall of Fame. These are some answers that came from some of the tasks last year, and we'll update it again this year. The scavenger hunt itself is a treasure map. The red X's are the required tasks. Required means that if a student wants to earn the top prize in the game, they would need to complete all 6 of these. They would additionally need to complete at least one from each of the other sections. Each of the other sections is around a particular theme, and there are 5 tasks in each of those sections. So students just click on a task. It takes them to a Google form where they see more info. They see what the task is about. They see a description of that campus service, that location on campus, that website that they are going to review, etc. They often see a link to go visit. For this year and last year, because of the pandemic, all of the tasks come from those links. They visit that website, they find the code word on that page. They enter that code word here and submit it. They see their score. They're able to see their score then to know whether they got the answer right, because we want them to learn this information. And so they can go back and resubmit it if they didn't get it right as many times as they need to until they get it, so that hopefully they will learn the things that we're wanting them to learn. And then they go and they choose a different task to complete. Some of them involve taking a photo or just connecting with another student. Some of them involve learning about other services on campus. Um, so they vary fairly widely. You may want to click around and learn about the different things on the map. We do have a text-based version of the scavenger hunt for our visually impaired students. Uh, that they can read all of the tasks, they can click on them and get to those same Google Forms from there. We also have a text-based version of the how to play page. Everything else other than the uh, Wall of Fame is already text-based, and the Wall of Fame, there's not a great way to make it text-based because it's just a list of names. So now that we've seen the clue page, you may want to pause the presentation and go play with it yourself. You're welcome to go ahead and submit some of the tasks if you'd like to see how they work. Just make sure you use your own school's email address, and that way I'll recognize you as being a conference attendee so that I know to ignore your answers. But you're welcome to play around with that and then just come back and join me on the other side. The scavenger hunt originally started in 2018 and was called BASH. We'll talk in a minute about why. MT Engage, MTSU's Quality Enhancement Program, invited grant applications from across campus. MT Engage focuses on experiential learning, and they wanted to have an event called MT Engage Week during late September, in which departments all across campus would have experiential learning events for students, both to have experiential learning experiences and also to learn about the MT Engage program and hopefully choose to participate in it. I had a goal for a couple of years before that to create some sort of learning opportunity for students, especially our new incoming students, to help connect them with the various resources and services available on campus in a way that would reach them where they are. Through their technology, through their smartphones and computers. Because it seemed like sending information through emails, handing them information when they came to their orientation sessions was not effective. And so obviously they always have their smartphones. They tend to be very plugged in. And so I felt like that was a great way to reach students. And so I took advantage of this, applied for a grant and received it, which then allowed me to offer the very first scavenger hunt, the behavioral academic scavenger hunt. Behavioral is in behavioral and health sciences, my college. We rebranded it as Clue based on student feedback that first year that they weren't necessarily from CBHS, and so they would love for it to be not so CBHS specific. For that first year and the second, it was an on-campus event. Students would read about a resource in the task. They would go visit that location to scan a QR code there, and that QR code would give them the code word to answer the task. So why smartphones and scavenger hunts? There's a lot of research on how effective a teaching tool gamification is. Like I said earlier, students have their phones with them everywhere. They're very engaged with technology, and then they're not necessarily so engaged with other areas that we're trying to reach them through. And so it feels logical to try to reach them through their phones, through their computers that they're using anyway. And the research backs that up. Arinley found that gamification can be a great tool to help students stay engaged. As a result, students will be motivated to broaden their minds and improve their skills. Chang and his research group did a study with first year students, and their results showed that the game based learning group were significantly more interested, concentrated, and able to control their learning than the non game based learning group. And then Meisher, Tall, and Gross found that smartphones may also enrich learning by providing authentic learning conditions and contexts. Furthermore, they may also be used for spontaneous learning because they allow learning to take place at any time and place. I've gotten some questions about how to give prizes safely in a pandemic environment. So I wanted to share some notes on what has worked well for us. In the past, pre pandemic, we started giving prizes toward the end of the event, before the event actually ended. Once students had finished the hunt, they could go ahead and come get their prizes. And then prize pickup lasted a few days after that as students wandered in. And we settled up then. We got t-shirt sizes. At that point, we were giving gift cards. We found out what gift cards they wanted, etc. That wasn't going to work so well in a contact-free-ish environment. So this time we gave prizes a few days later to give us time to pack up. Students picked their t-shirt size, and in that case, their gift card through the sign-up form, so that we already knew ahead of time what they were getting. Everybody got a lunch bag to hold all the prizes to make it easier to pack everything up. And we packed all of the prizes in that lunch bag and labeled them, set them up alphabetically, so that as students came in, it was easy to just pull that lunch bag and hand it to them with almost no contact being had. And then we limited pickup to specific time frames to, again, just minimize that contact as much as possible. For our fully online students, those who don't have any on-campus classes, we did give them the option of having their prizes mailed to them. Some took advantage of that, some just chose to come on into campus and pick them up. Let's look at success measures. For every year, with the exception of one measure, we've seen some great increases in participation rates. The one exception is the number of signups for 2020 dropped a bit. That most likely was because we didn't have in-person students coming in for advising. In the first 2 years, we had a flyer, a little half-sheet flyer that we handed out to each student when they came in for their advising session. And due to the pandemic in 2020, we were doing completely virtual advising. So we lost that opportunity to connect. We were only able to connect by email. This year, we've added the yard signs around campus. We do have some students coming back to our offices, but a lot are still virtual. Hopefully the yard signs will help, and hopefully we can get some through our emailing and texting as normal. In all of our other measures, as you can see, distinct improvements. The number of students versus those who signed up, those who actually participated, who completed at least one task, has gone up astronomically. as well as those who actually completed enough to get the top prize, who completed all of the 6 required tasks plus at least one in those optional sections. And so students are actually participating at a much greater level every year. We're also getting great feedback from students. They tell us they're having a great experience. They enjoy the scavenger hunt. They would recommend it to their friends, which I think is one of the best measures. They're learning new things. They're planning to use that knowledge. And then for students who report that they went into the scavenger hunt with poor or fair levels of knowledge, 100% of them indicated an increase in that knowledge level. Now, the weakness in the data here is that up through 2020, I was not asking these questions until the post survey. And so it may have been a bit of a leading question. Starting in 2021, that pre-knowledge question shows up on the registration form instead. So I'm asking about their pre-knowledge before they do the event. Overall, their knowledge level increase is pretty impressive. An average of 2.33 pre-test jumps all the way up to an average of 4.33 post-test out of 5. So we definitely seem to be making an impact on what students know about the resources available on campus. Moving forward, I mentioned the yard signs that we've added for this year to try to reach more students, and the pre-knowledge questions that we've added to the sign-up form to collect that data up front. We are keeping it virtual because of the high COVID levels in this region. As of when I'm making this recording, Tennessee is #1 in the US as far as the number of cases per 1,000 residents. And so it felt irresponsible to me to have the event on campus where I might be encouraging students to gather in small areas. Future goals and plans. I have had and continue to have a goal of working with first year courses, promoting it to the students there because that is our target population, the new students who don't know about these resources, where it could help them before they start struggling in class. So far, I haven't had much success with it just because of a lack of communication there. But I will keep trying. I will be moving the game back to in person next year. Uh, at least I will if this pandemic has played out by then. Let's all cross our fingers. I do plan to keep some of the virtual tasks because the students have really enjoyed them. But I do think there's some real value in getting students to go physically to the places we're trying to connect them with. I think they're going to be more comfortable using the Writing Center services if they've already been there in person to do the scavenger hunt task. I think they're more likely to go back. Um, I will have a version that is virtual for the fully online students, though. Before the pandemic, we didn't offer this. We only had the on-campus version. And so our online students were not well served. And we now have more online students than ever. And so I think this is really important in terms of meeting student needs. All right, you've seen the clue scavenger hunt. We've talked a little about where it came from and where it's going. Now let's see how to make a scavenger hunt of your own. You can find the handout at this website or on the handout downloads, but let's go there together now. And it looks like this. I have 3 sections on this page. Basic steps, which is the minimum you'd want to do to set up a scavenger hunt similar to mine. Tech it up is some things you can do to make it a little fancier, like you saw with mine. And then some helpful how-tos, some things that will help you with some of the steps up here. And I usually refer to something down here to help you find it. So let's take a look. The first thing you're going to do, and this may be an ongoing process, it was for me, is to decide on a series of tasks. What do you want students to learn? What do you want them to know about on your campus? What services? What support systems? One of our on-campus categories when we're available to do on campus is different locations on campus, our famous Blue Horseshoe, our Walnut Grove, things like that. Are there things like that that you want students to experience that maybe as new students they don't see? Have some fun tasks, some ways to connect with other students, with professors, things like that. So come up with a list of tasks. I ended up having about twice as many as I really needed and whittling it down to the ones I thought were the most important. And then I chose the most important to be the required tasks, then started grouping the others. But that may be an ongoing part of the process. Next, start setting up a Google form for each task. They may look like this. We looked at these a little bit earlier. This is the background of the form. This is what I see as I'm setting it up versus what the student sees. For each form, you want to have a label, a description of that service, of that location on campus, or whatever it is. You want to have a question, a task, something that the student is going to do to get the code word. And then you want to have the answer that they're going to enter, because you want to set it up with an answer key. You do not want to have to check all of these individually. And so to do that, when you get to your task, the question, you click here on answer key. And then it lets you put in what answers you'll accept. Think creatively about how students might answer this. If it's a number, if it's 6, you may want to put the numeral 6 and write out SIX. You may want to put capital S. You may want to put little s. You may want to think about common misspellings if it's a word that can be misspelled. You may want to put a butterfly, the butterfly versus just butterfly, just because you want to make it as automatic as possible. You want to have as little manual work to do as you can. Setting up the answer key also means, besides the fact that it's self-checking for you, it also means that the student can see if they got it right. And that's really helpful for them, again, so that they can go back and fix it and learn the thing if they didn't get it right in the first place. Next, you want to set up a Google form to collect your signups. My registration form looks like this. I collect, some basic information about the student, some demographics that I want to know about for myself. There's where I ask their t-shirt size. I ask whether they have at least one on-campus course that's during the day so that any online or night students can get the invitation to have their loot mailed if they want it. And then I have a message at the bottom telling them what to do next, which is to go play the actual scavenger hunt. For any of these, once you build the form, you can then click on the little eyeball here to see what it looks like to the student. And you can even go through and fill it out and try it out. You can submit it yourself to see what it looks like on their end. Next, if you're gonna have any on-campus tasks, you may want to use QR codes to help them get the code word for that task. QR codes are fun, they're hip, and they're easy for students to scan. They don't even these days need a special app on their phones. Most any phone will pick up QR code with just the camera app that's built into the phone. So they're super easy to use. The way I did my QR codes is that I printed them. I ran them on a free website. I'm a big fan of free. I printed them on waterproof paper. The brand I use is called Write in Rain, R-I-T-E. And then I just used removable double stick tape to stick them on wherever I was leaving them so that I could go back and remove them later. But you can do it however works for you. And there is some info, if you're not familiar with QR codes, there's some info there on what QR codes are, how to create them, etc. Next, you want to have some sort of a website to tie it all together, like my website here. Somewhere that they're going to go to find the scavenger hunt, somewhere that they're going to go to find the sign up form. It doesn't necessarily have to be as big and fancy as mine. Not that mine's super big and fancy, but it might just be scavenger hunt and sign up form, and that's okay. It might not even be a visual map. My original scavenger hunt was just this text version. When I made the map, I then just kept the text version for my visually impaired students. If you're gonna have prizes, obviously you want to have some sort of a scoring system, some sort of prize tiers. If you want to look at mine, you can see that in the How to Play document. It talks a little bit about how they're scored and how the prizes are done, how many points per prize, etc. You're welcome to borrow any of that if you'd like to. You want to have some way to record each student's scores. That can be as simple or as complex as you want to make it. You could just have a piece of paper and draw out lines and write out names and keep track of scores. Or it could be an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheets. I'll show you a way to plus it up a little bit in a minute if you want to. And then, of course, you want to have a way to publicize your scavenger hunt. That might be a flyer that you hand out or put up at different places on campus. It might be yard signs around campus, a website, emails that you send out, texts that you send out, up to you, but just find some way to promote it to encourage students to register. Next, I've given you some suggestions on how to tech it up if you want to make it a little fancier. All of my graphic things I make in a website called canva.com. Again, I'm a big fan of free. They do have a free version. I use the free version almost entirely. Every once in a while, I'll subscribe for a month because I need something in particular, but you can do most anything you need in the free version. I create things in Canva. I download them as a PDF. I add the links then in Adobe Acrobat Pro, which my school has for me. It's very possible that yours does too, especially if you are a Microsoft Office 365 school. At least in the past, Acrobat has just been part of that package. So check with your IT department and see. And if not, there are other free tools that would let you do the same sorts of things. Um, you can collect all of your task responses in a single Google Sheets, which is one of the coolest tricks in the world. Back in the first year, I had uh, 25 different Google Sheets to go with my 25 different Google Forms, and then a formula that was pulling all those scores in. And then I learned this trick. And you can find a great little YouTube, not one I made, it's somebody else, but it'll teach you how to do that, how to take all of those forms and put them into one Google Sheets, all with 25 different tabs, which makes it a lot easier to then tabulate your results. And then you can use the index match formula to take all those results, take those scores, and match them up with the students and tabulate how many points they've earned. Makes it a lot easier, again, to just track everything, make it as automatic as possible. Makes it a lot easier to manage. If you're not familiar with index match, I have created a resource for you on that. There's a bit.ly there that walks you through it and even takes you to the next level, index match, which just pluses it up a bit. This is not a very visual thing. It's just, me writing out, here's how to do it. If you're a visual person, check out these websites or just Google index match and you'll find videos, you'll find all sorts of resources on how to use that formula. It works in Excel, it works in Google Sheets. It's a life changer once you learn how to use it. I use it 25 times a day. Other things in the helpful how-tos that we haven't mentioned, bit links. You've seen a lot of bit.ly addresses in my presentation. I use a lot of those in the tasks also. Anytime I've got a long website that I want to share with them, that I don't want them to have to type in or remember or something, I use a bit link. And I've also created a guide for you there. A much more visual one this time, on how to create your own bit links. They're super handy. They're great for putting on flyers, on yard signs, on texts. If you're sending texts out, this makes your website this long instead of this long. Super, super handy. So check that out. And then make sure your website is ADA compliant. You want to make sure that all of your students have access to it. I don't know that I do the best job on this, but I try. Here is a website that's helpful, that has some good resources. My biggest thing is just make sure that you have text versions of everything. That's one of the easiest ways to be accessible, but then also use tools to make sure that the content you put on there is something that can be read, can be viewed by various groups. On this slide, we have some more bit.lys. This also is a handout that you can grab. There's the Clue homepage. I've given you a bit link to the Clue treasure map, and here's why. The treasure map link on the homepage isn't always live. A good portion of the year, you'll click on it and it'll say come back in September for our next event. But you have the actual link that you can go to any time of the year if you want to go play around with the scavenger hunt. There's that handout link. Here are the links to that sign up form and task that I showed you. This is a separate version that you can play around with. You can go in, you should be able to see it as an editor. You should be able to see it just like I do. And then you can click on the little eyeball to see the student view. You're welcome to use this yourself. If you do some Googling, you can even figure out how to just copy that form over to your own Google files. If you'd rather just do that and start from my version, and you're welcome to do so. You've got the references for the quotes that I gave earlier, and then my email address. I hope to hear from you. If you decide to make a scavenger hunt of your own, if you have any creative ideas on how to use it, if you run into trouble, just have questions for me. I'll be glad to help in any way. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you around the conference.